Hi, welcome back to my channel. A few bits of housekeeping before we get into the video. First of all, I want to say thank you. I just hit 20,000 subscribers. That's crazy. I'm truly so grateful. I don't really even have the words for it. I can't say it enough. Thank you so much. I'm glad that people enjoyed the last video. Also, if you're waiting for an update on Don't Worry Darling, don't worry, darling. I will absolutely be making an update video. I'm just waiting until the movie comes out so I don't miss any big developments if those come, because so far big developments have come. The video after this one will be Don't Worry Darling Drama Part 2. I just want to make sure that I get everything in that second video. So if you just want to see that, thanks for checking in on this one. It'll probably be out by the end of this week. Additionally, the movie that this video is about, Dear Evan Hansen, involves suicide. There's truly no way I can talk about the movie without bringing that fact up. So if you want to check out of this video, I totally understand. Hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Okay, now let's get into the actual video. This is not going to be a needlessly thorough roast of Dear Evan Hansen 2021. That video already exists. I will be making fun of the movie. Don't worry. But I'm also going to talk about the Broadway show and where Broadway's at in general, the idea of adaptation, and there's like questions that I ask for each act of the movie. You'll get it. You'll pick up on what's going on. In 2017, Dear Evan Hansen was nominated for 9 Tony Awards and won 6 of them, including Best Score, Best Book, and Best Leading Actor for Ben Platt's performance of the titular Evan Hansen. So turning that show into a movie makes a lot of sense. It had the best script, the best music, and the best actor reprising his role of that season of Broadway shows. So how could anything go wrong? Surely the passage of several years would change nothing about the reception of this show. Speaking of the Broadway show, I'm so glad you brought it up. Depending on when I upload this, today is either closing night for Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway, or it is the first day in a post-Evan Hansen world. Either way, with the Broadway show gone, the way that most people will be exposed to the show now is through the movie. Sure, some people will listen to the cast album, but just hearing the songs doesn't really mean that you'll get the story of the show. When the first trailer dropped, the largest reaction I saw, other than, Ben Platt is nearly 30, why is he playing a high schooler, was, this isn't a musical about a gay teenager. I don't know why so many people thought Dear Evan Hansen was a gay coming-of-age story. I actually do. I don't know why I'm lying right now. It's because Ben Platt is gay, and there are songs like You Will Be Found, where you hear that title and you're like, oh, that could be a song about somebody coming out. And then you listen to the song, and you're like, yeah, this could be about somebody coming out. Plus, one of the composer-lyricists is gay. So it's not a stretch to think that this could be Love, Simon for the stage. But it's not. What it is a story of love, lies, deception, prescription drugs, and trees. There's a lot of tree imagery in this one. Let's talk about the movie. The 2021 film Dear Evan Hansen opens on Evan Hansen typing and saying the words, Dear Evan Hansen. He's writing a letter to himself, trying to give himself a pep talk before the first day of school. Very quickly, he starts singing the first song, waving through a window.
But you're not weird or anxious or depressed. I don't even know why you're bringing it up. You can't be scared to talk to other people. You said it could be better. You said this year would be different. You're overthinking it. Do you like having no friends? All you have to do is just be yourself.
I've learned to slam on the brake before I even turn the key.
We love a musical that establishes quickly that it is a musical. While he's skulking around his room with posture that would put Keira Knightley to shame, we learn that Evan feels alone and isolated and that he struggles with anxiety, to the point that ordering pizza online is too much to handle.
You're a senior in high school. You need to be able to order dinner for yourself. You can do it all online. You don't have to talk to anybody.
Okay, well, that's not true, actually, though, because the credit card's expired, so you have to meet the delivery person at the door. You know, you have to pay them with cash at the door. You have to greet them. You know, you have to figure out the proper greeting.
Okay.
He feels especially alone at school, where these scenes would have been especially funny to film. You've got an instrumental track playing. You and the 100+ extras around you all have to be dead quiet so they can capture the singing. And he's belting his face off about how he's tapping on the glass. Also, you may have noticed Evan has a cast on his arm.
What happened to your arm exactly? I was climbing a tree and I fell. It was stupid.
While at school, Evan talks to Jared, who says that they aren't friends.
Because we're friends and...
We're family, friends, Evan. That's an entirely different thing. Please respect that.
But they are friends. We see them hanging out regularly. They know the weird details of each other's lives. They're friends. For example, Jared knows about Evan's crush on Zoe.
Evan,
What?
it's Zoe Murphy in that hot band shirt you love so much.
I don't think anyone else knows about it.
Hey, would you want to sign my cast? You could be the first.
Why would I do that?
Well, I thought, because we're friends and...
We're family, friends, Evan.
Oh, come on, you're actual friends. And if someone asks you to sign their cast, I feel like you should probably do it. Like, what's the worst that's gonna happen? It's not like a yearbook where then like, okay, you have to sign my... No, it's their cast. They're the one walking around with it. And Evan's wearing sweatshirts a lot of the time, which covers 90% of it. Just sign somewhere near the elbow and you'll be fine. While Evan and Jared are talking about their summers and Evan's crush on Zoe, you know, stuff that friends would talk about, we get 3 pieces of this speech from Alana.
Go Bobcats, so awesome, everyone. Phenomenal, really. You know what's not phenomenal? Deforestation.
So...
Model UN.
Well, anyways,
So let's have Mother Nature's back so that she'll have ours.
That part where Alana just yells, Model UN, feels like there was a longer conversation that happened between the two of them and they needed to chop it down. And they were like, how do we cut away from these two? I know. She'll yell something. But why would she yell Model UN in a speech about protecting the environment? Like, unless this was actual Model UN, in which case you wouldn't say Model UN. After the pep rally, Evan's in the hallway and he gets yelled at by Connor, who is Zoe's brother and a social outcast. He's an outcast because he has serious mental health and substance abuse issues. After Connor yells at Evan, Zoe goes up to him to see if he's okay. And Evan does this.
I'm Zoe.
I think... Sorry.
The movie takes itself and its subject matter so ultra seriously that when something kind of silly happens, intentionally or otherwise, it really is jarring. That's why his Naruto run is so funny, and why when he makes a big to-do about his palms being sweaty, his knees being weak, and his arms being heavy, you know, he's almost performing a caricature of social anxiety rather than the actual thing. In the computer lab after school, Evan writes another letter to himself and very deliberately and decisively prints it out and then immediately regrets doing that.
Sorry, I think I accidentally printed something.
Yeah, we're all waiting.
While Evan's waiting for the letter, Connor comes up to him, starts talking to him, asks if he can sign Evan's cast. Evan does not say yes, which Connor takes as Evan not saying no, and Connor signs the cast in big-ass letters.
Now we can both pretend we are friends.
Then he picks up the letter that Evan wrote, starts reading it. It mentions Zoe.
You wanted me to find this?
What?
You saw I was here, so you started writing this, and you started talking to me.
No, you started
So that I
talking
would
to
read
me.
some creepy shit about my sister and freak out, right?
Why would I do that?
So then you can tell everyone that I'm crazy, right? Right?
And he storms off, letter in hand. Evan is certain that Connor is going to post the letter on the net, so he searches all over the information superhighway for it, to no avail. I do like that on Connor's photoless Facebook page, though I don't know how believable it is that he'd have a Facebook page. The only thing that he has liked is the place where he went to rehab. I feel like either that's got to be him showing that he's got a softer side, you know, oh, he likes the place where he went to rehab, or he's doing a bit just for himself. Either way, it's a nice little bit of character development. The next day at school, Evan and Jared are talking about their personal lives because they are friends. And Jared says my least favorite line in the whole movie.
A letter to yourself? I mean, what is that, like some kind of sex thing?
I hate this line. I hate this line so much. There are so many actual questions you can ask when someone tells you they've been writing letters to themselves. Do you ask questions in the letter and then wait a certain amount of time to read it so that, you know, you have answers and you can see how much you've grown in that time? Do you still put them in the mail? Because literally everyone I know loves receiving mail. So maybe the therapist is just making sure that he's getting mail regularly to get some dopamine in his brain. Or just, why? It's a fair question. I don't see anything wrong with that one. But what is that, a sex thing? It's just not something a human would say. Evan is called into the principal's office where Connor's mom and stepdad are waiting to tell him the news that Connor committed suicide, and the only thing that Connor had with him was the letter that Evan wrote. But because Evan signs all those letters, Sincerely Me, the parents think that it's Connor's suicide note. Evan tries to stick up for himself a little and tell them what actually happened, but very quickly his need to be liked and not be a nuisance and his social anxiety all combine, and he agrees to have dinner with the Murphys to tell them more about his friendship with their dead son. His friendship that does not exist.
And you said yes?
I froze.
Well, what are you gonna tell them?
I mean the truth.
I don't know, man. I mean, you really gonna tell these people that the only thing they have left of their son is a sex letter that you wrote to yourself?
And it gets a callback. Why? One thing I like more in the live show than the movie is the pacing of the songs. In that, the first song is not Waving Through a Window. It's a song sung by Evan and Connor's moms, which helps establish that it's a musical where everybody sings. And if you only watch the movie, you might be surprised by that, because the first two songs are very long songs sung solely by Evan. Again, love that we start with a song, but we have to wade through a lot of exposition to get to the second one, which is another one solely sung by Evan. It takes till the 31-minute mark before we hear somebody else sing a song. This second song includes one of the most, "Okay guys, we're gonna sing a song now" lines of any musical.
I bet you had fun. I bet the two of you, I bet that was fun.
Yeah. We did. The whole day. It was just end of May or early June. This
Ben Platt unable to sing without gesturing with his hands.
An open field that's framed with trees. We pick a spot and shoot the breeze like buddies do.
Hey buddy, I get it. What do you think I do that all the time in these videos. And some incredibly subtle side eye on the line.
There's nothing that we can't discuss. Like girls we wish would notice us, but never do.
Hey Zoe, I think that might be you. I think he might have a crush on you. I don't know. It's hard to tell. By the end of the song, Evan is fully committed to lying about his relationship with their dead son, and we will spend the rest of the movie dealing with that lie. Also, he changes the way he says Appalachian Trail from the Broadway recording to the movie recording.
Bike the Appalachian Trail. Bike the Appalachian Trail. Or bike the Appalachian Trail.
And I don't know if that's just an easier vowel for him to sing, or just something he did on the day, or did they change where the story takes place from the show to the movie? I don't know. It just always sticks out to me because I've heard the cast recording so much. To hear him change the vowel, it sounds weird. It's not a bad thing. It's just a thing that I noticed. If you look at the advertising for this film, it looks like they're trying to land somewhere between prestige drama and teen romance. That's hashtag relatable. It is an AMC artisan film, which is a moniker reserved for films like Everything Everywhere All at Once, 1917, Parasite, and Cats. So all equally good movies. I'm trying to think of similarities between Cats and Parasite. Those are both like types of animals. And the first ad was this image with text where it talks about Evan feeling alone, and visually he's alone. So you're like, okay, this is a prestige movie that's going for awards next year. But then you see these individual character ads and you're like, okay, it's trying to be a Love, Simon type movie. And I'm not saying there's anything bad about Love, Simon. I think that's a good, fun movie. I enjoyed it. But I don't think anyone involved with or who watched Love, Simon thought that it was best picture fodder. Another thing I love about the movie promos is when they were, doing the press junket. Look at Ben Platt next to all of his co-stars. He's not their teacher. He's supposed to be their peer. Look at his face and tell me he's going to play a convincing high schooler. I dare you to do it right now. I dare you to say it to me. See? No one's coming in. Doors closed. Means privacy. The next day at school, Evan is talking to his friend about the dinner and tells him that he lied and said that he and Connor were best friends. This is off topic. I find it really mean they're making Evan do PE when he's got a broken arm. I know his legs still work, but come on, what if he trips and falls and then has to create another fictional friendship with a different student who recently committed suicide. That'd be a mess. To prove that he and Connor were really friends, Evan and Jared write fake emails between Evan and Connor. And that brings us to Sincerely Me.
Dear Evan Hansen, we've been way too out of touch.
It's my favorite number in the movie.
Things have been crazy, and it sucks that we don't talk that much.
The song has a lot of energy to it, and there's choreography and staging and jokes that actually land.
I like my parents.
Who says that?
I love my parents, but each day's another fight. If I stop smoking crack, if I stop smoking pot, then everything might be alright.
I wish there were more songs like this, and not ones where someone goes, wow, I'm really feeling this emotion, and I'm gonna sing to you about it, but I've gotta sit down because it's too much to bear on my feet. I really like the way the actor playing Connor plays this song. It's all over the top.
Cause all that it takes is a little reinvention. It's easy to change if you give it your attention.
But contextually, it all works.
All you gotta do is just believe you can be who you wanna be. Sincerely me.
I'm stalling because it's mostly downhill from here, and I want to stay in the fun part of the show, where things are going good and you feel like they might turn it around.
Sincerely me.
Then the plot moves towards Alana and the Connor project, two things that will almost entirely replace Jared as we get to the back half of the movie. Sorry, Jared heads, he's basically gone from here on out. Alana talks about her own issues with mental health and how she wants to do something to help people like her and Evan who might feel alone or forgotten.
What do you take? Okay, I'll go first. I'm on Lexapro, 10 milligrams.
Oh. Well, I'm on Zoloft. And Wellbutrin. And, Ativan as needed.
And I'm on 3 milligrams of a hybrid. I can't really take more than that. Otherwise, I get scared or I throw up. And I don't want to do either of those things.
There are a lot of people who feel like us. People that you wouldn't think. You ever look at all the people who seem to know exactly how to be?
When Alana sings her song about feeling hidden and how other people feel the same way, she's sitting down. Of course she is. Alana wants to start a club to help people who are struggling with their mental health, and she asks Evan to ask Connor's parents if they can call it the Connor Project.
You know the Murphys, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if you would reach out to them and get their blessing.
Which I think is the only courteous thing anyone does in this whole movie. And I really like that when Evan does ask the parents about it, he and Zoe are wearing matching Minion outfits. At the memorial for Connor, where they're sort of soft launching the Connor Project, Evan gives a speech, and it starts out bad.
Good morning. Sorry, then I fell.
I lay there on the ground, and good morning, students and faculty.
Sorry that...
So everyone films it until it becomes so transcendent that the whole World Wide Web unites around his beautiful speech.
Have you seen this?
People started sharing it, and now, I mean, it's everywhere.
This morning it only had like 30 views.
Well, how many does it have now?
720.
2,326 views.
14,359.
I don't understand what happened.
You did.
One of the people watching goes,
Every time that you call out.
she's the best extra in the whole movie. When news is first going around the school of Connor's suicide, she reacts like this.
That's Connor. Connor Murphy.
Really hamming it up. She's got another line of dialogue that I'll put in here because I don't think it spoils anything. And even if it does, I'm gonna spoil the end of the movie. We're gonna talk about the whole thing.
She went home.
And at the very end of the movie, she gives a great look. If they were gonna give an Oscar to anybody in this whole movie, it should have been her. She kills it. I hate the trope of online virality in musicals because it feels like a cop-out to me, you know, just to be like, how do we get a bunch of people to notice this? To the internet! But also, most things just don't go viral. That's just the nature of the internet. I've been doing this a long time, so don't I know that most things don't go viral. And when they do go viral, it's because they're funny, they got a cute kid, or a unlikely animal friendship, something like that. It's not because a near adult was incredibly earnest. In my head, it feels like the movie should be set somewhere between 2010 and 2015. I feel like that's where they've got maximum chance for this to go viral, sort of around the It Gets Better era, not because this is a gay story. That feels like the right era of the internet for something like this to have viral potential. You got to be able to cut to someone on local news talking about how many hits the video got. That's where I feel like this could go viral. So here, After You Will Be Found, I think is as good a place of any to talk about one of the reasons the show was so widely praised. It was one of the first big Broadway shows to talk about mental health. And it does discuss mental health, but I don't think it has a whole lot to say about it. It definitely goes, wow, look at Evan and Connor. Those guys do have some pretty poor mental health, huh? Damn. And the show came out when discussions of mental health were starting to hit the mainstream, or at least when I was cognizant enough to notice them. I know that sort of towards the end of my time in high school, 2016, 2017, that's when discussions of mental health really started to like happen more in the mainstream. Like, I'm sure middle schoolers now have a much better vocabulary for discussing mental health, mental illness, that kind of thing, than I ever did when I was their age. And that's a good thing. So you've got a musical about something that's in the zeitgeist, plus it's a musical about high schoolers. And since Spring Awakening, we've been living in the era of musicals about high schoolers. It was exactly the right set of things to just be a very popular musical. And I think because of that, it gets a little more credit for talking about mental health than it actually deserves, because it doesn't really have that much to say about the topic. Like, I don't think it's groundbreaking or really explores that topic in like a super interesting or unique way. It just kind of is like about some people who have some bad mental health. With exactly one instance of online virality under their belts, what's the next step for Alana and Evan? Monetization.
As you all know from Evan's speech, Connor's favorite place in the entire world was the Autumn Smile Apple Orchard. I'm beyond excited to announce that in addition to our support groups, we will be launching a Kickstarter campaign to raise $100,000 to reopen and redesign Autumn Smile as the Connor Murphy Memorial Orchard.
They launched a Kickstarter to open the orchard where Evan lied about falling out of a tree with Connor. They're also going to do mental health services or whatever, but they're going to open the orchard, and that's what's important. Slowly throughout the movie, Evan and Zoe start spending more and more time together. And while they're hanging out at Evan's house, Zoe confesses that she has feelings for Evan too.
I like you. And it's not because you were friends with my brother or because of the Connor project. I like you because you... I don't need you to sell me on reasons to want you.
They sing and go to a fair, and I like to imagine that it's the same fair that they went to in Euphoria. I know one of them is in Maryland, one of them's in California. Just let me live. I want to see Evan and Zoe having just such a wholesome time, enjoying being together. And then you pan slightly to the side and see Cassie tripping and getting her rocks off. Alana really starts worrying about whether this orchard's gonna get rebuilt and what that means for the Connor project as a whole.
If I were his best friend, I would be doing everything I could to make sure his dream of rebuilding the orchard came true. We have people watching us, hoping, praying that we can prove Connor wrong. And if the orchard is just an empty promise, all of those people will know that Connor was right.
If Connor and Evan were ever really friends, so she confronts Evan about it.
Well, the thing about the emails is just that, like, you and Connor keep talking about climbing this tree together in June.
Mm-hmm.
We were in school in June. You didn't have a cast until September.
Why Evan changed the month that he broke his arm in when he told the story, I'll never know. A huge part of the story, when he was first telling it, was that nobody came to find him.
I was climbing a tree and I fell. It was stupid.
You fell out of a tree?
It's a funny story though, because there was like this solid 10 minutes after I fell where I just lay there on the ground, waiting for someone to come get me, you know? I was like, any second now, you know? I just kept, I was saying to myself, any second now, here they come. So.
Did they?
No, nobody came.
So there's no one there to like fact check you. Just say when you broke your arm, make it the same day. It doesn't make sense to lie about it, and it doesn't make sense that no one would realize that he was lying about it. It's my understanding, having done no research, that broken arms have a pretty consistent timeline. So if he was either wearing a cast for a really long time or a really short time, someone would notice. And also if they were in school, people would notice if he broke his arm. So to ease her mind, Evan pulls out his phone and instead of just showing her, he emails Alana a photo of Connor's suicide note, the letter to himself that Evan wrote. Because she really wants to get that orchard rebuilt, she posts that suicide note and uses it to try and fundraise. And there's a huge public backlash. Not to her posting the suicide note. That actually leads to an increase in donations. But people start saying horrible things about Connor's family. Everyone says that they're terrible people and worse parents and that they would kill themselves too if they were part of that family. It gets to the point that people dox the Murphys. I don't know what their end game is other than just to yell at them.
Have fun with your miserable life.
What do they say? What's the number?
What? It doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's overall a bad time. Alana quickly takes down the post, but it's too late. After all, the internet is
for forever.
Thank you, Evan. Evan goes over to the Murphy house while they're reeling from someone leaking their son's suicide note, and he confesses to everything.
We failed him!
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You didn't fail him.
Read the note.
He didn't write it. I wrote it.
You didn't write Connor's suicide note.
It was an assignment from my therapist to write a letter to yourself. A pep talk. Evan Hansen. Dear Evan Hansen, today's gonna be a good day. Here's why.
I don't think
I was supposed to bring it to my appointment with me, but Connor took it, and then I guess he must have had it with him.
You knew about the orchard. He took you to the orchard.
That's where you broke your arm.
I broke my arm in Ellison Park, by myself. We weren't friends.
No.
I never meant to make it such a mess.
It's during this song, Words Fail, that we get the best example of why having a 27-year-old play a high schooler is not a good idea. Back at home, Evan is talking to his mom, and we find out that Evan didn't fall out of the tree to break his arm.
The tree? I didn't fall. I let go.
She apologizes for not being there for him enough and says the word truck in a way that just tickles my brain.
You haul truck.
Every time I watch this, I get scared that Evan and his mom are about to kiss on the mouth. And every time they do not, and we move on to better days. Evan starts actually learning about Connor and finds out his favorite books and stories about his life, and that he wrote a song while in rehab. So Evan sends a video of the song to the people he was closest to on tiny USBs in big envelopes. Evan and Zoe meet at the orchard, which got fully funded, which means the Connor project was a success. And there's no more mental illness because they rebuilt an orchard. When Evan and Zoe talk at the orchard, Evan says he's taking a gap year, that he's taking classes at community college, and that he's going to transfer to a 4-year university in the fall. So at least one of those things just is not true. Even after all that he's put the Murphys through, he can't help but lie to them.
I wish we could have met now. Today. For the first time.
Me too.
How? For real, how? Your entire relationship was built upon multiple lies. And still you're like, but I think you might have been the one. No, get the fuck out of here. Evan sings the little reprise of Connor's song.
It feels a little closer.
looks out over the beautiful orchard, and then... Hold on. Not yet. Almost there. It's over. And we cut to a pop version of one of the songs from the show playing over the credits.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there?
It's nearly identical to how they start the credits for Diana the Musical. And I really wish that movie musicals would stop doing this. This is supposed to be the curtain call. Give me full orchestrations. Don't leave it on some sad emo beat. If you ever have a question about what to do during a specific moment of a movie musical, just ask, what do they do in West Side Story? Because Spielberg made a beautiful guide with all of the correct choices. He's not fully in charge of casting. And aside from that glaring miss, casting was all hits. And I know Dear Evan Hansen came out before West Side Story, so I can forgive them. But it means now, if you do it, I will not forgive you. If Wicked Part 1 comes out, this is going to be at intermission. I don't know where they're splitting them, but let's pretend it's at intermission. Wicked Part 1 comes out. Here we go. Down. Cut to black. I'm gonna be popular. I'm gonna lose it, is what I'm gonna do. I believe in John M. Chu, so I don't think it's gonna happen. And it is gonna be weird to see the credits roll at what's ostensibly intermission, no matter what they do. But I hope if they do the indie cover thing, I'm gonna be so upset. All right, I'll say it. Ben Platt looks old in this movie. It's true. But he also said his daddy wouldn't have produced the movie if he wasn't the star. So can you really blame him? For me, the biggest giveaway that this guy is not a member of Gen Z is that in a text message, he sends an ellipse. No, that's not how Gen Z texts. Also, let me just say, I totally understand Evan's motivations in this movie. I too would do unspeakable things to make Amy Adams happy. This movie did not do well at the box office. That's just a fact. Critics didn't like it, and audiences didn't see it. The $1 million question is the Broadway show closing because of how maligned the movie was? Have people turned against it after seeing a digitally de-aged Ben Platt? By insisting he be Evan Hansen forever, has Ben condemned Evan Hansen to close? Because let's be honest, I don't know that there's ever going to be a revival of this show. Sure, there will be tours and regional productions, but I don't think a Broadway revival for Dear Evan Hansen is in the cards. It's just a show that's so of its time. Let's look at some numbers, huh? There were 8 weeks from the week of January 1st, 2017 through the week of March 8th, 2020, when Broadway shut down, that Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway grossed less than $1 million in a week. That happened 8 times in that span. And in all 8 of those weeks, they're within 40 grand of $1 million. Since the show has returned, they have grossed more than $1 million once in the first 35 weeks. And the week that they did that was a 9-show week. Ticket sales have improved since they announced that the show was closing. People want to see it before it's gone. And since Gat Matarazzo joined the show, believe it or not, people want to see popular performers in musicals. I gotta tell somebody about this. I think it could be the next big thing. The other factor here is Broadway overall is taking a hit. Between people not wanting to sit shoulder to shoulder with strangers in a pandemic and the inflation recession we've got going on where people are pulling back on buying non-essentials, of which Broadway tickets are definitely one of those, Broadway's seen some lower numbers recently. The main things succeeding on Broadway right now are known quantities, whether that's the show or the star or the music. You know, people go for the familiar right now. And also, Into the Woods is doing very well. I want it to run forever. Please, I know they gotta leave the St. James. Go anywhere else. People will come see the show, I promise. Just let the magic continue for a little longer. Since returning, Broadway's followed its usual trends of low ticket sales in the winter, and then it picks up as we get to April-ish. and that stays there. And then at the end of the summer, it dips again, and it spikes during the holidays. Repeat that every year. All of that has stayed the same, except it's all shifted down. The lows may be lower, but the highs are also lower. So I don't think this movie was the death nail for the Broadway show. For now, we get to live in a world where the only show still running from that season is Come From Away, until 2 weeks from now when that show closes too. One other question I have, well, I've still gotcha, is why wasn't this show a movie from the start? You know, Pasek and Paul, they've made movie musicals before. They wrote La La Land. They did The Greatest Showman. Why wasn't this a movie musical? There's nothing about this that needs to be performed live on stage. If anything, Greatest Showman is more of a stage musical than this one is. But this one was a stage musical from the jump. Everyone's sitting down all the time when they're singing songs. So it just feels like it probably could have been a movie from the beginning. And if Ben Platt would have played it in the movie in the beginning, people probably would have liked it more. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you wouldn't mind leaving a like or subscribing, I would really appreciate that too. Again, thank you for 20K. Thank you for all of the love on that Don't Worry Darling video. I'm recording this on 9/11. Dick Cheney snuck into my house earlier this morning, and that was creepy. Anyway, thank you again for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.